Fruit bats are very important to ensuring species diversity in nature. Because they eat nectar and pollen, they pollinate flowers, just like bees. There are plants like the durian tree that can only be pollinated by fruit bats. They wouldn't exist without them. Some fruit bat species sleep in banana plants during the day. Because of this habit, many durian plantation owners also plant banana trees next to their durian trees. Fruit bats also spread seeds with their feces. This helps new plants grow. Fruit bats and the bat order in general are the only mammals that can fly. Just like smaller bats, fruit bats are active at night and form large colonies. They live in tropical regions of Africa, Asia and Australia. The only European fruit bat is the Egyptian fruit bat, which lives on Cyprus. There are around 200 fruit bat species. One main difference between fruit bats and the smaller microbats is that fruit bats don't eat insects. They also use their very good sense of sight and smell for orientation instead of echolocation. Fruit bats don't suck blood, if you were worried about that. They're also not aggressive and don't look for people to bite. Fruit bats are shy and peaceful, but if a fruit bat does feel threatened, it may bite to defend itself. In this video, I discuss 7 fruit bat species that you can find in Southeast Asia. 1. Spotted-winged fruit bats, Balaeonycteris maculata, are unusually small megabats with a head body length of 5 to 6 centimeters, a wingspan of 28 centimeters, and an adult body weight of around 13 grams. Most of the head and body are covered in thick blackish-brown fur, while the underparts are a pale grey-brown. Their wings are dark brown with distinctive pale cream spots, which are most noticeable on the joints, but are also found in a variable pattern across the wing membranes. There are also pale markings in front of the large eyes and on the ears, which are simple in shape compared with those of microbats. The nostrils are elongated and splayed to the side of the snout. The species can be distinguished from other small fruit bats by the presence of the spots on its wings. Spotted-winged fruit bats inhabit primary rainforest up to 1,500 meters elevation and coastal mangrove forests. They are found across Malaysia and Brunei and in the northern and western parts of the island of Borneo in Indonesia. They have also been reported from Trang province in southern Thailand, from a small area in Sumatra, and from the Riau archipelago. No subspecies are known. They feed on a range of generally small, inconspicuous fruit, such as figs and persimmon, and on some insects and spiders. They spend the day roosting alone or in small groups consisting of a male and up to 9 females and their young. 2. Sinopterus brachiotis, lesser dog-faced fruit bat, common fruit bat, is common to abundant throughout much of its range. It occurs in a range of habitats from lowland primary and secondary forests to mangroves, cultivated areas and parks and gardens. By day it roosts under shaded trees, sometimes underneath the protective cover of ferns or near the entrance of caves. It can be identified by the pale edges of the ears and the whitish wing bones. It feeds on small fruits, figs and nectar. These bats play an important role in plant pollination. Plants such as bananas, avocados, dates, mangoes and peaches depend on them for seed dispersal. The species ranges from Sri Lanka through Myanmar, Thailand and Indochina to Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines and Indonesia. 3rd, Horsfield's fruit bat is a medium-sized megabat, intermediate in size between flying foxes and pygmy fruit bats. Adults weigh around 55 to 60 grams and have light grey to brown fur, with a reddish-brown or orange mantle around the shoulders. In some males, the mantle extends across the chest, and the fur is often brighter in colour than in females. The rim of the ears and some skin within the wing are white. The bats have a short, broad snout, ending in a pair of almost tubular nostrils. Both the eyes and ears are large, although the latter have a simpler structure than in most other bats. They fly with a relatively slow speed compared to the other megabats, with moderate manoeuvrability. Horsfield's fruit bat is found in Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia and Brunei. Within this region, it inhabits a broad range of lowland habitats, from dense primary rainforest to agricultural land and suburban gardens. Horsfield's fruit bats eat the fruit of strangler figs, Elaeocarpus and Paeana, and the flowers of bitter beans. They have been reported to pluck fruit from trees and carry it to roosts elsewhere to feed. During the dry season, when fruit is in short supply, they instead feed on pollen, which they take from a wide variety of plants. 4. The large flying fox, Pteropus vampirus, is a Southeast Asian species of megabat. Despite its scientific name, it feeds exclusively on fruits, nectar and flowers. It is noted for being one of the largest bats. As with nearly all other Old World fruit bats, it lacks the ability to echolocate, but compensates for it with well-developed eyesight and smell. Large flying foxes have long and woolly hair, which is shorter and more erect on the upper back. Their wings are short and somewhat rounded at the tips. This allows them to fly slowly but with great maneuverability. The wing membranes are only haired near the body. Large flying foxes are found in Southeast Asia. They range from the Malay Peninsula to the Philippines in the east, and the Indonesian archipelago of Sumatra, Java, Borneo and Timor in the south. These flying foxes inhabit the primary forest, mangrove forest, coconut groves, mixed fruit orchards, and a number of other habitats may be used as roosts. Large flying foxes are very social creatures that roost in the thousands. One colony even was recorded numbering around 2,000 individuals, and colonies of 10,000 to 20,000 have also been reported. They are nocturnal and may fly up to 50 kilometers to their feeding grounds in one night. During the flight, bats are not vocal. Upon arrival at feeding grounds, large flocks form family or feeding groups. They may circle a fruit tree before landing and usually land on the tips of branches in an upright position, then fall into a head-down position from which they feed. Feeding groups flying foxes tend to be very noisy. Large flying foxes are territorial, and they demonstrate it by growling and the spreading of wings. When moving to a suitable resting place after landing, an individual may fight with other foxes along the way. When roosting, the flying fox is positioned upside down with its wings wrapped up, and when it gets too warm, the bat fans itself with its wings. 5. Penthator lucasi, dusky fruit bat, is an uncommon species which occurs in lowland and lower montane forests. By day it roosts in colonies in dark rock crevices and quiet caves. It is primarily a fruit eater, generally flying away from the fruit-bearing tree to consume its meal elsewhere. Its fur is short and grey-brown, and the chest and belly are more pale than the back. The fur on the head is slightly longer and dark brown. The wings are dark brown to black. Its head is of typical fruit bat shape, with a dog-like muzzle and large eyes. The ears are dark-edged. The dusky fruit bat ranges from southern Thailand, Peninsular Malaysia and Singapore, to the Riau Archipelago, Borneo and Sumatra. They serve as pollinators and seed dispersers in their ecosystem. Dusky fruit bats are considerably excellent seed dispersers due to their ability to travel long distances. 6. The common tube-nosed fruit bat, Nyctimene albiventa, is a species of megabat in the family Pteropodidae. It is found at islands north of Australia and in Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, the Philippines and the Solomon Islands. The species group is generally solitary and adopts a daytime roost in dry foliage of the lower to mid-story of the forest. The reproduction is typical of the Pteropodidae, a single birth once a year, and the offspring is carried by the mother until it advances to an age where it can be left behind while feeding. They are primarily frugivores, meaning they thrive on raw fruits. To eat, the common tube-nosed fruit bat will bite off small chunks of fruit while hanging horizontally. However, occasionally they are also known to eat nectar and the remains of insects. 7. The Dyak fruit bat, Diacopterus spadicteus, is a relatively rare fruit megabat species found only in Southeast Asia. Few specimens of any of the three species exist, due not only to their rarity, but also because they rarely enter the subcanopy of the forest where they can be caught in scientists' nets. The Dyak fruit bat has a grey-brown back with a silver-grey belly. Its fur is short. It has a short tail, ranging from 10 to 20% of its body length. Its wing membranes attach to the second toe on each foot. It is the smallest of the bats in the genus Diacopterus. It has a proportionally wide skull, however, when compared to the other bats in the genus. They live in Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines and Thailand. Dyak fruit bats are found on the Sunda Shelf of Southeast Asia, specifically the Malay Peninsula, south of the Isthmus of Kra and the islands of Borneo and Sumatra. They prefer to live in old-growth lowland rainforest or montane rainforest. Little information is known about the habits of Dyak fruit bats. I hope that this video has told something about the ecological importance of fruit bats in Southeast Asia for the pollination and dispersal of certain tree species. Also, commercially interesting fruit trees like durians, bananas and mangoes. It will always be a battle between people who only see the harm of bats when there is fruit feeding damage, and people who see the usefulness for the pollination and dispersal of these fruit trees.